All right, hi everybody, welcome back. Attorney Steve Vondran. Welcome to another exciting video. We finally got the decision in a fair use copyright case dealing with the Andy Warhol Foundation. I told you I was going to follow up on this. The Supreme Court finally heard the case and decided against the Andy Warhol Foundation, against fair use, against a transformative use. Okay, let's take a look here. This was on petition for certiorari to the United States Supreme Court. The lower court found in favor of the Warhol Foundation. The appellate court reversed, came up Supreme Court. Supreme Court affirms the appellate court and finds no fair use in this situation. Now, again, we've talked in other videos about certiorari. Look down in the comments box. I'm going to give you my video to the certiorari, what that means, how it works. But let's talk about fair use, and I'm also going to put a fair use decision down in the message box for you as well. But fair use, obviously, it's 4 factors. There are times when you have to use somebody's photo to tell a story, like you see it on the news all the time. They'll flash up a photo and it'll go down. It's because they're talking about the picture. They're commenting on it. They're criticizing it. They're using it for a different character and purpose. There are many different types of fair use that are allowed. In this case, the court said, no, we're not going to allow you to do this. So I'm going to jump right to the photo so you can see what's at issue here in case you're not familiar with the story. Here is the photo taken in 1981 by Lynn Goldsmith, photographer. And Goldsmith had taken the photo, and I believe there was some other prior licensing of the photo. So it was a commercial photo that the photographer had created and used and monetized. And so here is a look of the photo. You can see it's a picture of Prince, one of the greatest musicians of all time. If you don't know, go back and look and see how many different instruments he can play. You would be really surprised, but one of the most talented musicians, in my opinion, of all time. So here it is. Here's the photo at issue. Now let's look at the infringing photo. Let's go down here a little bit. There's a lot of meat in this decision, and I'm not going to go over all this with you. But let's go down here. Here it is. Okay. So this is the infringing work. It was a silk screen using that exact same photo. As you can see, there was really no difference in the photo, but kind of, transposing the photos and the images. This was called Orange Prince. Okay, and the Andy Warhol Foundation used this. Andy Warhol Foundation, WAWF, Foundation for the Visual Arts. Okay, so this was the infringing work. The two parties were fighting about it. The photographer wanted his due. Andy Warhol said, hey, come on, this is a fair use. This is iconic. Look, you're an Andy Warhol. You should be happy as can be. This is amazing, Your 15 minutes of fame, although Prince had a lot of, probably had 15 years of fame. So anyway, this is what the dispute was about. The case is over the fair use and the 4 factors. I'm not going to talk about the 4 factors in this video. I will put it down below. Obviously, there's 4 different factors in every case for fair use. No one prong is decisive of how the case is going to be determined. You weigh the different facts and you determine what the outcome is. Now, in this case, Andy Warhol Foundation did not oppose factors 2, 3, and 4, commercial use and this, that, and the other. The issue they took at was prong number 1 of the fair use test. Is this a transformative use? Now, here's the problem in copyright law, or should I say the tension, is when you own a copyright, say you own a photo, okay, say you own a screenplay, you have the rights as the copyright holder. You register your copyrights, get your copyrights in that. You have the right to create what's called derivative works, okay? If you want to take that screenplay and turn it into a movie, you have the rights. Other people can't just come take the rights and say, hey, look, I made something totally new. You have those inherent rights. It's what we call the bundle of rights. And I'll put a link down below. What is a bundle of rights? How does that work in copyright law? So you can see. So the only issue was whether or not this was sufficiently transformative, turning it into something new with new meaning, new message, new purpose. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Does it cut the mustard? Should they be allowed to use this without being sued? Should they be allowed to market and monetize this as something completely new and different? Or is this a ripoff of the photographer? Supreme Court heard all the factors in a 7-2 decision. The 7 justices said this is not a fair use. There were 2 dissenting opinions. I'm not going to read you. I'm going to try to put you a link to the decision as well in the comments section. So if you want to read the whole opinion, you really got to see the whole thing, then go there. But a lot of the talk, in fact, I'm just going to go down to the end here. The summary here really just kind of gives you what you need to know. Lynn Goldsmith's original works, like those of other photographers, are entitled to copyright protection, even against famous artists. Such protection includes the right to prepare derivative works, that's what I just said, that transform the original. Okay, the use of a copyrighted work may nevertheless be fair if, among other things, the use has a purpose and character, here's the key, that is sufficiently distinct from the original, okay? In this case, however, Goldsmith's original photo of Prince and Andy Warhol's copying use of that photograph in an image licensed to a special edition magazine devoted to Prince share substantially the same purpose. And that's the problem. And the use is of a commercial nature. AWF has offered no persuasive justification for its unauthorized use of the photograph. Therefore, the purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is commercial nature or is for nonprofit educational purposes, weighs in Goldsmith's favor. The court has cautioned that the 4 statutory fair use factors may not be treated in isolation, one from another. All are to be explored and the results weighed together in light of the purposes of copyright. AWF does not challenge the Court of Appeals determinations on the second factor, which is the nature of the copyrighted work. The third factor, the amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. And the fourth factor, the effect upon the use of the potential market for the value of the copyrighted work. Because the court agrees with the Court of Appeals, the first factor likewise favors her. The judgment of the Court of Appeals is affirmed. So no fair use. Now you have copyright infringement, so you're probably going to see a pretty big settlement in this case. You may see other people that have kind of relied on this sort of transposing of photographs. You may find a whole new series of lawsuits coming against people that were doing it, kind of getting away with it, thinking it was a fair use, and now this decision is kind of like, well, not really. Doesn't look like a fair use. So again, there's 2 dissenting opinions. I'm not going to go into it. There was something in here I thought was interesting. Well, what do I have here? I may have one little tidbit for you here. Andy Warhol contended that the purpose and character of its use of the Goldsmith photograph weighed in their favor in finding of fair use because the silkscreen image of the photograph, like the Campbell soup can series, has a new meaning or message. So the bottom line is they were trying to say, you know, and let me just finish this here. The district court, for example, understood the Prince series work to portray Prince as an iconic, larger-than-life figure. So Andy Warhol's going like, once you get to this status where Andy Warhol Foundation has this, oh man, this is superstar status. Now you have reached iconic, and that's a new and different meaning. As you can see, not very distinct, not very similar. When I see the other photo, I look at a photo icon. I see Prince, the icon. So the court wasn't buying this. There was no new meaning or message. And so the transformative use really didn't apply and was not sufficiently transformative to claim fair use rights, which would have meant there would have been no infringement. And there would have been a big copyright. Whoever prevails in a copyright infringement case gets their attorney fees. So, you know, there was a lot riding on the line for this case. And again, I think the precedent for this case is be careful what you're using in transformative use. If you don't hit it right, as I say, it's like shooting at the king. Just don't miss, because there could be substantial liability in copyright law. So that's it. That's a look at the difference between minimal transformation, basically just some window dressing, versus a completely new derivative, completely different work. And Andy Warhol Foundation did not quite hit the mark. So be careful, especially with your famous people. Be very careful. And here was that soup can. And years ago, the soup can, I think a lot of people know the soup can, they were allowed to do this. The court talked talked about that, said, well, this is different. Campbell's advertises their soup for commercial consumption, whereas the Warhol canvases is artwork. Okay, so they were considered to be distinct. So there's always a lot of things you can argue about in law. That's why we love it so much. And that is the Warhol decision from the Supreme Court. If you need help with a copyright infringement issue, fair use, you know where to find me on the web at attorneysteve.com. That's attorneysteve.com, the first name in legal services. I got to run. I hope this has been helpful. Feel free to share the video. If you've got any questions, comments, post them down below, and check out those extra videos in the description area. Got to run. Have a great day. Bye now.